Right, welcome back and thank you for staying with Business Today. Now, before we went to a short break, we were talking about drone technology in business and the contributions that the drone is having in different kinds of industries from the normal that we are used to for content creation. And we are speaking to Pt.2, who is the CEO, Kenya Flying Labs. Thank you so much for still sticking with us.
Thank you.
All right, so there's a summit coming in June on this particular issue. What is it about and how can people really get into this?
Thank you. So in June, we are working on a summit we are calling the Elevate Africa Summit, which is going to be a two-day event happening on the 28th and 29th of June in partnership with Kwanza Technopolis and Kenya Civil Aviation Authority. The summit is organized by Kenya Flying Labs, Pravesh Global, and Africa Drone Forum. We're bringing this forum into Nairobi to bring the industry together, but also create an opportunity for people working in different sectors to see and interact with drone technologies from different companies around the world. We are fortunate enough to get this partnership with Kwanza to be able to do live demonstrations on the second day, 29th. And this will provide an opportunity for us to see, drones in health in action, in agriculture, in inspection, in security, mapping and survey, to see different kinds of sensors and to interact, with industry to see what's happening around the world as well.
Okay.
On the first day, we'll also have excellent speakers talking around different topics, such as women and drones, regulations, which is a big topic for drone users in the country, and beyond visual line of sight operation, which allows things like last mile health logistics to happen or large scale mapping to happen.
All right. All right, so that particular summit is going to happen in June, towards the end of that, and that's very interesting summit to just get in touch with or get yourself involved in. So therefore, when it comes to that, it's very, very important. But now let's move and look at mapping and survey. You've mentioned this as well. So when you look at drones and mapping and survey, how do they really just help with this? And do they really give the right and accurate information, or you'll find there's some really gaps when it comes to data collection in mapping and survey?
So mapping and survey is quite an interesting field for drones, and drones come in to bring high-level accuracy and very high-resolution data. If you're talking about mapping and survey, you start thinking around geographical information systems and talking about satellites. A lot of the data that we've had access to in the past has been from satellites, which is excellent because it allows you to capture large areas. But countries like Kenya or many in Africa, do not really own these satellites. I think Kenya launched a satellite last year, and I'm not sure whether we're already getting data, but we should start. The advantage of drones in this space is around efficiency. You're mapping below clouds because satellite data sometimes on cloudy days, you have cloud interfering so that you're not getting data in some sections. You cannot get it on demand, and therefore you have to wait for a satellite to orbit and pass around your area to be able to gather that data. But it's not data that you'll just wake up and pick. With your drone and the different types of drones, you can wake up today, get your clearance from Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, and fly or map an area of interest to you. People doing engineering, building roads, for instance, in the past, in a section of a road where you have, difficult terrain, drones do come in very handy because you have the aerial advantage. So you don't have people walking in trees or bushes. But also using sensors like a LiDAR sensor, you're able to map this area with trees and without cutting any vegetation, eliminate trees from the data and be able to understand the terrain information. Because all engineers are interested in is, what's the terrain, the digital surface models or terrain models around the areas they want to work. And therefore, we're also conserving environment by not cutting trees unnecessarily, just to be able to figure out where a road needs to pass, and then you realize this is not the best place, now let's cut this section and try. So it brings those kinds of efficiencies. The time you would take surveying a road, for instance, in the past would be months or even a year.
Yeah.
Now with drones and these technologies, you are reducing that to just a few days, and still talking about that efficiency.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you so much for that. And now let's look at health. Mm-hmm. I believe health is really, really a very important aspect, especially when it comes to the lives that we live at this time. Mm-hmm. So how do we use it in order to improve health, if that is to go by?
Yeah, health as well, very important. Whenever there are emergencies, somebody's bitten by a snake, or somebody needs some heart, medication or tuberculosis, and they need it urgently. The other means, such as motorbikes or vehicle taking are there. But remember, we also have very poor infrastructure in some of our rural areas. We have islands that depend on a boat that goes to these places at intervals. Drones come in handy to be able to deliver this last mile emergency needs. One perfect example is Zipline, which is a company that is known to do excellent work in Rwanda, and currently they're in Kenya doing medical deliveries. They are delivering blood. I think they're also delivering vaccines to vaccinate dogs around Kakamega. So they're partnership with Kisumu County. Mm-hmm. Equally, Kenya Flying Labs is in partnership with JKUAT, which is Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, to do a research around this use case in Lake Victoria region, targeting Kisumu and Homa Bay. This project is funded by IDRC, which is a Canadian research organization. And what we are trying to see is how we can use, a large payload capable drone, which is an airship, to be able to ship supplies to remote areas, because stocks is one of the challenges that create lack of medication in these places. When they run out of stock, and poor stock management, they don't realize that they miss this. So if we're able to handle that for them, we're able to then keep the doctors doing what they do best. So those are the two areas around medicine delivery and things like blood within the health sector.
Okay.
I've seen Kenya Red Cross, for instance, during the times we had COVID, use a megaphone on a drone platform, flying it remotely from a safe distance to talk to people, give people information. That potentially is a use case where you now, keeping your distance, but giving people information where they need it. Yeah.
Right. Very well explained. And now, let's look at business. Of course, we cannot not have this conversation and miss touching on business.
Yeah,
so, okay, someone has a kiosk, someone has their own business that they do. How do drones help market this particular kind of business? How do they place themselves in a way? How do they make sure that they are using the drones in order for them to market themselves well? Because as you've mentioned, almost every industry is now looking into this, and they're trying to make work easier, from transporting medicine, transporting information, getting to people in terms of maybe rural areas and remote areas that cannot access roads easily. So therefore, a business, how do they make sure that this is going to add value to them?
I think one way I can, quickly think of is around content creation that's going to market your business or your premise. If you are developing real estate, for instance, you need aerial data to be able to provide perspectives, from different angles, which you can't get with, the usual cameras with a cameraman. But with a drone, because of this aerial advantage, you're able to capture this and create, captivating content that could be used to market, your business. In the future, I believe that, from where I sit, the future of aviation is actually unmanned, because we're already starting to see air taxis, for instance. So we will have a situation where you can get supplies in your kiosk through a drone platform, by simply using an app to request, for that kind of a service. Or maybe you realize you've run out of particular stock. In the future, I think those kind of use cases are going to be there. But currently, with the regulations we have, I think excellent for content creation. We've seen a lot of young people, developing amazing content about the country, and these are things that elevate our tourism sector in many ways, business-wise. So there are many different areas. One of the ways actually is it's creating business and an opportunity for youth to get employment. So we have unmanned training organizations which are training drone pilots locally, something that wasn't able to happen just like 2-3 years ago. And a youth, 18 years or so, can get skills to be able to start making some money by either doing excellent photography, videography, or getting employment as a drone pilot with companies coming out from outside the country to look for business in the country. So I think there are numerous ways. It's a new technology, as I alluded to earlier. So a lot of even sectors are still finding, their foot in to see how best they can work with this technology in business.
All right, Cleopa, thank you so much. We have to end it right there. As Cleopa Otieno, who is the CEO of Kenya Flying Labs.
Yes. Thank you.
Kenya Flying Labs, speaking to us about the importance of drones. It's not only used in content creation, but you can also use it in different ways. We've looked at very many different aspects in agriculture, in health, and also mapping and survey, and also even different kinds of ways in which you can build yourself in order to use it more importantly. We're now going to look at some other remaining stories. Now, Johannesburg World Class University, known as